inspection nightmares. Most people think the inspection process is just getting a checklist. They're wrong. And guess what? You're not paying attention. Opening your ears can cost you thousands of dollars, whether you're a
Oh,
seller
yeah.
or a buyer. Pay attention to the inspection because what you think, your house, every house has secrets. New ones, old ones, especially old ones. My job is to
Yep.
find them before somebody else does if you're selling. And if
Right.
you're buying, to find out everything you need to know before you put down that final earnest money and get to closing. So
Right.
we are here with your next move with Luann and Erica.
Yep.
I'm with Caldwell Banker HPW here in New Jersey. I mean, New Jersey.
I'm with
You're in
Wipers
North
in New
Carolina.
Jersey. I don't know, Erica.
I know, right? I'm
You're
trying
in
to think.
North Carolina,
I miss New
girlfriend.
Jersey. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
Luann, you started off because there are some
My
serious things
God.
going on in
So,
your life, and
I
we're going to
mean,
get
I
right
have
to it.
probably hundreds of them, but now coming up with this home inspection, it's typical to do radon testing,
Yes,
because
here
just in
too.
case, some areas in New Jersey do have radon. And so
And North
they do it
Carolina's
across
known
the
for it.
board, whether you have no radon, if you have radon anywhere in New Jersey, it warrants doing a radon test along with your home inspection. And that falls under the category of environmental. So that's something that's a contingency. And for those that don't know what radon is, it's a natural gas that draws with the rocks in the soil, if you're on a mountain, those kind of rocks. Certain areas in New Jersey are on mountains and stuff. So there are higher levels of radon, and radon is a natural gas that is cancer causing, but there are ways to remediate the situation to make the house that you live in safe.
And
So
the last
basically,
house I had a radon remediation system. Some people think of it as like, "Oh, what's wrong with the house?" But radon remediation, you could see all the time, "There's no radon." No, I was like, "I think it's a plus."
yeah,
My clients did it out of extreme precaution. They just heard about radon in North Carolina. North Carolina is known for having radon in and so we test all the time for it because they came from out of state and they heard about it. They said, "We need a remediation," even though they had a low level test. So,
right. Anything 4.0 in New Jersey standards or higher are considered high levels, even though 4.0 is not unsafe. But New Jersey, and I think other states as well, they want to make sure they don't get to danger zones before they put the threshold
mhm,
on when you'll need one and when you won't. So if you
right.
have a 4.0, it's what?
CI,
PCI?
some,
Yeah.
yeah,
And higher, then you could request the seller to put a radon remediation system in.
right.
And
Okay.
I had one instance when a couple years back in Rockaway where it was like 4.2. And then I did a retest and then it came to 3.9. But at that point, my buyers were just like, no, it went high. We're not comfortable in moving forward without your remediation system put in. And it was located, on a mountain too. So you never know. The levels could go
Yeah, it remediates from season to season, and if the windows are closed and all that kind of stuff in the house, if it hasn't been in, it can fluctuate. But when you
yes.
have a high radon,
Well, I just got a 23.3 level. Or I
wow.
no, I think it was a 21.3, sorry. But still, same thing, 21, 23. But there's a big difference between 4 being the high to 21.
Yeah.
So
Well,
at that
that's like they
point,
said it's EPA levels where you got to get the Environmental Protection Agency involved. You can have them test it and do some kind of long-term test. So the short terms are just snapshots, but you can get a long-term test if you're very concerned.
there is another test that you can do, but it tests out over a course of days.
Mhm.
And it tests it out like in the morning, in the noon, at night, and it takes a couple of days for this test. I don't know how costly it is. I never done a test like that before, but that's something you can do if you want to kind of get away without putting like a system in, or
Mhm.
maybe you go to that recourse, but that could cost like $700-800 to do. So a remediation system is about I think between 2,500 and 3,000. So, what's the sense of spending like $700, $800? And then if it is high, then you're going to have to spend money on the remediation system on top of that.
Right. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, usually when I try and list somebody's property for sale, I wouldn't think to include a radon test, but I would do a full, you could,
Mhm.
I recommend that they get an inspection before they put their house on the market. There's nothing better than going into a house in Durham, North Carolina. A lot of people do this because there's older houses and you're putting down due diligence, which is
Right.
non-refundable money. We've talked about that. But if you
Yes.
have your inspection right there, you've had the quotes and you've had some of the major things done, or you offer a credit for it, you're upfront with it. It's much more like, I think, comforting to somebody who has to put down a non-refundable deposit to me. So I always recommend it. Not everybody listens, but I always think that it's cheaper if you and it's cheaper for me to find contractors when I have time and to negotiate
And
than
and to and to reaffirm your situation with when you're getting ready to sell your house, have the home inspection. It's better to have, it's like your offense is your best defense,
yeah. Yeah.
because at that point, if there are things that come up, you could kind of do them. There's some things you could do. There's some things that, of course, you'll need like a license, tradesmen for
Yeah,
whatever
exactly.
particular thing. But there's certain things that you can do, to kind of like get things going, because once you have that home inspection and these things pop up, at that point, licensed tradesmen need to do the work. You cannot no
And
longer
it's
do it.
like, for instance, like we had an issue where we had to get somebody to do the work and we could have got it cheaper.
Right.
But they were 4 to 6 weeks out and that would have gone beyond. So we had to give a credit and then they came back, the buyers came back and said that they wanted a particular contractor and that contractor was more money. But had you done it before on your
Right.
own time, you could have saved a little cash, save some coins
And
and
not put any
also the
doubt,
headache.
not put
Yeah,
any
no
doubt
doubt
in the
either. Now it's like,
in the mind of the buyers.
yeah, now they're wondering what else is going on with the
Right.
house, right?
Exactly.
Especially an older house, it's like, "Oh, you said this, you said that, and now I'm finding this." I mean, this is a buyer beware state.
Right.
So,
And yeah, same here. But age is not a defect. Let's just say you're not buying a brand new house. So,
right.
age is
Not
not a
all the time.
defect.
Age is not a defect.
And just because the roof is 20 years old doesn't mean that you're entitled to a new roof.
No, the roof could be fine. It could last another 10 years. I mean, to tell you the truth. And then, like, also a water heater. People say that the water heater, oh, it's at toward the end of its life. The water heater could last another 5 years.
Well, the life expectancy is 12. Mine in particular lasts about 24 years. So, it's very subjective on when it could end. But,
Yep.
you'll have to budget as a buyer, you'll have to budget for it. But if there's nothing wrong with the hot water heater, it's functioning, it's not leaking,
Right.
there's anything else is an upgrade at that point.
Right, right. Like my HVACs on this house are original. That's the only thing left to replace on this house. And I'm thinking about getting a home warranty because if
Homeowner's
I get the home
warranty.
warranty now, if I know it might be another couple years, I mean, it's functioning fine. We've taken great care of it. We've gotten a
Right.
maintenance contract. People come out and service it twice a year for the seasons and nice and crispy in here. Great,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I
Yeah. And
bet you if I sold this house, that would be an issue in terms
some
of
of
like
those older
how
models, they last longer,
than the newer
than
models.
the
Yeah.
newer
I mean,
models.
I'm sure they would qualm about it if I put this house on the market. They'd be like, "Oh my gosh, it's the HVACs are 20 something years old." I'm like, "Yeah, they're working pretty good." I mean,
The one we have in Bloomfield is over 60 years old. It's still going.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and that's just a new thing. People expect new roofs. Now we do have a new roof. We have a new brand new commercial grade water heater. It's just our HVACs just never, I mean, they were never giving us problems. So why should we worry?
Don't
You
fix
just
it
keep
if
it
it's not
maintained.
broken.
If it ain't broken, don't fix it. One thing we do when we go with our buyers is we do look at the crawl space. You can kind of like, I like to peek under there if I can with a flashlight. You can tell if it's sealed, if it has the plastic cover down on the floor. I don't know if you guys have crawl spaces. You guys have basements
We
a lot.
do. We do have crawl spaces. I have not seen anything that's been, thermaled out. It's usually just dirt.
Yeah,
And
my ours down here, it's common for them to seal it with plastic on top up to the sides of the walls, and sometimes they even keep it cool, and they have like some kind of fans to I know it gets fancy down here.
Yeah, exhaust fans, yeah,
Exhaust fans in the, thing. There's also in the attic, they have exhaust fans, certain things you can check.
yeah.
I check the water pressure.
Oh, yeah.
You
Well,
go
yeah,
and
make
check
sure
that
you
water
flush
pressure.
the toilet and run the faucet.
Yeah, flush the toilets, run the faucets. I mean, my husband's big on that one. He
Yeah,
actually likes to come into a new house and replace all the toilets. He's like, "I don't feel comfortable
yeah,
sitting on." That's the first thing he does when we ever get a house is to replace the toilets.
yeah. Or
He's gotta think
what
about that.
about when you're taking a shower and you flush the toilet, you know? So,
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if 2 people can't take it, well, we can test that one out, but hopefully your inspector will come. Usually you get an inspection and then you have when they give you the list of things that are issues, and it could be a long list for older houses, not to worry about. It's just a little checklist. I mean,
mhm,
nothing's earth-shattering. It'll have red items and it'll have recommended items. The recommended items when I'm selling a house, it's like, okay, recommend it, whatever. Red items, I try and make sure that I take care of. You know, I mean,
right,
those are things that you're going to have to, it's a material fact now. You're going to have to take care of it anyway. So
right.
you want to make sure you take care of those red items and explain it to your
Yeah,
client. And that those are things that probably really need to be done or high priority. Safety
abs
concerns,
absolutely.
cancer concerns, like those kind of things, environmental issues, that kind of thing. So
Yeah, I
those are
mean,
things.
basically on our, when we make out our offers, so these buyer or sellers don't think that, we're going to make a Bible's worth of, complaints about the house, because that certainly could happen.
Hmm.
We've had some of those where, you got 20, 30 pages, it's pretty
Hmm.
daunting.
Yeah.
We basically put, structural, environmental, and mechanical. So that covers all
Right.
the big ticket items. Like the
Hmm.
mechanical part is, the appliances have to function, especially the boiler, the HVAC system, the hot water heater, so it covers all that big ticket items. And the structure of the house has to be sound. No leaks, in the roof, the plumbing, the pipes, can't be leaking, and things have to, function there. And, environmental would be like we're talking about with radon and the
Well,
oil tank.
certain pipes go back if you got
Yeah.
really
I
old
don't
houses,
know
you
if
got
you
cer
guys have asbestos, but there's a
yes,
lot of asbestos in New Jersey,
and
which,
the different
those
piping
are,
that they have
and
for
for
cancer.
those that don't know what asbestos is, it's an agent where, it's an insulation that they wrap around the pipes, and, asbestos is, cancer causing.
Right.
It's relatively safe if it's, uninterrupted. So if it's on the pipe, what people do is they wrap it, with the duct tape, so it keeps it, isolated in that area where it's not gonna, dissipate and just, because it turns into like a powdery substance that floats, in the air, and breathing that in over a course of time, gives you like cancer, could give you cancer over time.
Right.
So basically they'll wrap it up with duct tape, but even then it's frowned upon. So basically, if you're selling your house, that's something that you should be getting ahead of and get rid
Mhm,
of it,
mhm,
because it's gonna come up in the home inspection, and it's gonna probably cost you more money doing it that way than for you to do it, before, you have all these buyers come in,
right.
because, if they're first time home buyers, they're gonna be afraid and scared. They're scared as it is, and they're spending so much money, and then they have nightmare stories.
Yeah.
You wanna, like, kind of like defuse and eliminate as much, stress and chaos as possible. So
The other thing that comes up is termites down here because of
yeah,
the
we have
environment.
termites too,
When you
but
have the posts in the ground, that's something you gotta and you could go around, you can poke your wood, like, if you own a house right now, you can go
yeah,
around
they
your
take
house.
like a screwdriver and they
Yeah,
poke
take a little
around.
screwdriver and go around all your posts and kind of just, like, kinda dig in and see. That's what they do. They'll go around, and as a homeowner, you probably could do that just to keep up on what's going on with your house. I thought I might have had termites because my, steps were, like, leaning and it was very soft, but it just ended up
Yeah,
being that, it needed to be shored up, there were no termites. But I called in my own inspection. A lot of times, realtors can get a discount on inspections, and I didn't know that. I got a full inspection for a deep discount because I was a
that's
realtor,
good.
so
But,
I didn't know that.
it takes a long time for the termites to really affect the foundation or the wood,
Mhm.
of the house. The one that's more concerning is carpenter ants. They
Oh,
do worse damage to the house
ooh,
than
yeah.
termites will. So
Carpenter ants and, there's another thing called those beetles. What are those things that go those beetles that go those bees, those carpenter bees.
they burrow into the wood.
Carpenter bees.
Yeah,
That's another thing that's very common here in North Carolina, and I
yep,
had them, and I had to, like, spray for them and
right.
get them in the
Yeah, well,
wood.
yearly treatment is good prevention.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's it, you guys. Check
There
your
you
house
go. Those
out.
are your tips.
Inspect it, and remember that keep your eyes open and ears open, ears open, and, get that inspection and understand that if you're listing your house, it's really beneficial to get one before you list it. If you're buying a house, look at all the items and submit it. You can get a credit. Sometimes you don't wanna a lot of times tell your lender that you have all those issues with that house. You wanna
No,
get a credit and,
and
certain
take
things to
care of
look
it.
out for. Take care of it. So
Take
this is
care of it.
our tip today. Maybe we should get in some more I know you have a ton of stories, so maybe
I got a
if you
ton of
guys
stories. Maybe not time for today,
not
but
time for today, but if you wanna hear more stories, maybe it'll freak you out if you're buying a house, but sometimes it'll prepare you to keep your eyes open, and your realtor is able to look at things and see things before you can see them. So
eh,
that's a good thing.
there's always a solution to every
There's always a
problem.
solution. Calm down. We got you.
We
We
got
got
you.
you.
Got you.
All right, signing out. Like, subscribe, and share with your next move, Lou and Erica. We'll see you next time.
See you
We'll still
next
go back to
time. Bye bye.
all right, have a good one.